Have we finished passing the tissue around? I mean, we don't even cry खोल के. थोड़े रो लेते जोर जोर से. है ना, रोना भी गुनाह नहीं है यार दोस्तों. My name is Rohini. I have had the privilege of watching the film, at different stages. I also watched it a couple of days ago, and then today with you as an audience. I just want to first say that we're very privileged as an audience to be able to watch a film like Qorma. Also extremely privileged as an audience to be from the same space where we have the greatest talent in our country, and they're sitting on the stage with me. So please give them a big hand. It's a very personal day for you, for us, for a lot of personal reasons. But as I said, I've been with you and the film for many years now. Before it got made, when the first poster dropped, when how excited you were when you said to me, Shabana ji ne haan bol di hai meri film ke liye. I remember that so clearly. So the first question, I'm sure the audience would also like to know, casting coup, when it goes to about casting coups, this is truly one. Do you want to tell us the little bit of the story of how you put together this cast?
Uh, I don't think anything that happens in cinema or in life is coincidental. I think everything, there is a grand plan working always, and that's what I believe in. So I feel that Sheikh Kurma had its journey. It chose the right people to come together. I think when you put in so much of heart and soul from very deep parts of your being and you align that into the universe, you really put it out there, it just finds the right people to align with it. So I feel I just had to become a medium, take myself out and just let it happen. And so it happened. Started with the first person to come on board was Divya, Didi. And after Didi was Swara. And then for a long time, I was very hesitant to reach out to Shabana ji.
I
For
can
a
imagine.
simple reason, because she is Shabana Azmi. uh, there was a joke in the house for a long time. Mama used to say, "So did you reach out to Shabana ji today?" And I was like, "No, I did not." And this went on for I think a few months. And then finally, one day we were 2 weeks away from the filming and we still didn't have a mother because I was just like, I don't know. Should we try this one? Should we try that one? And then I was at Didi's house, sitting in the middle of a costume trial. And she said, "Do you want to just take Shabanaji's number and text her? She'll be like, I'll hold your hand while it happens." I was like, "Yeah, I'd like that." So she held my hand and I sent a text to Shabanaji. She was in London then. And she responded back, and the rest is history. I think she read it, of course, and she said my manager will reach out to you tomorrow. And then I met the manager, and it was just I I still can't believe it. I mean, it's the universe really aligning things, Rohini.
It truly is. Shabana ji, physically मैं आपसे इस मंच पर बहुत दूर बैठी हूँ. Okay, but I do want to ask you this question. For somebody who's always stood for the stories that need to be told, and you told a story like this way back when it was not even, in vogue or cool to talk about. And I remember we spoke about that. We had an anniversary. It was 25 years of Fire a couple of years ago. And Shabana ji, of course, had, consented to this conversation with me. And here I am sitting on this, munch with you again. I want to ask you, what was it about this story? Is it always because the story needs to be told, or because also जो story है आपके सामने वो भी बहुत खूबसूरत तरीके से बोला जा रहा है?
पहले तो मैं ये बताना चाहती हूँ कि आई रिमेंबर इट स्लाइटली डिफरेंटली
Okay.
फ्रॉम फराज. हुआ ये था कि दिव्या ने मुझसे इसकी सिफारिश की थी, और अगर दिव्या सिफारिश कर रही है तो आई विल टेक इट वेरी सीरियसली बिकॉज आई हैव ग्रेट रिगार्ड फॉर हर एज एन एक्टर. बट something happened and I wasn't able to read the script. And then I think 1 week into the shooting, I got a message from Faraz saying that Shabana ji, sorry, आपसे कोई जवाब नहीं आया, तो we'll move forward and maybe we'll work again. तो मैंने कहा नहीं, let me read the script. And I read it and I rang him back and I said, of course I'm doing it. And he said, नहीं लेकिन, मैंने कहा मैं कर रही हूँ, नहीं लेकिन का क्या मतलब है? He said, मगर एक हफ्ते में, मैंने कहा मैं 4 दिन में आ रही हूँ लंदन से, मैं definitely कर रही हूँ. But the important thing is, of course, the reason for the film is always important, but because I'm an artist, for me, just the reason is not good enough. It has to be a story that moves me and a story that needs to be told, and told in the very sensitive manner that it has been told. So I didn't have hesitation with the film at all in terms of its content, because I'd gone through that in Fire. And I just felt deeply moved. And when I met Faraz, I knew that it had come from inside his core. And the rest is, it just worked out. It just worked out. I would have been very, very sad if I hadn't done the film. So thank you, Divya.
I must share this. The story I remember, and then he was at my place. Truly, I was holding his hand. We were waiting for her response, and it came like, "Yes, I'm doing it," and we danced. I remember
Of course
that.
you did. Of course you did.
And then we ordered samosa and jalebi.
Aw. No, it's beautiful. The way I met you, 2 nights ago, and I said, I have to say things to you, because there is such a beautiful performance. एक सुर है जो आपकी फिल्म का है, and इस सुर में it's beautiful how everyone's in that and taking it further, right? But I think the first time that we hit that sur is when, that shot is on you, where we realize that this family, it looks so fun, and they're all eating, and how food is love, and food continues to be love, and you keep pushing that theme as well. But I think that this was a highly internal performance, and I want to talk about the two of you, Shabana ji and you. Even when the epiphany happened, Shabana ji, when you actually realize what needs to be said, there's nothing said. And I think that's the strength of the film, because you just say what you have to say, Kalyanee, and then she doesn't say anything, and then it's just actions. So talk to me about the internalization of Sheer Qorma. Divya, we'll start with you.
First of all, a very good afternoon, rather early good evening. I just want to add to what Shabana ji just said, that as an actor, I think it is always important, it should appeal to your soul. It should feel, you should jump, कि ये तो ज़रूर करना है. और जब आधी रात को फराज ने स्क्रिप्ट भेजी थी और हमने 2 बजे रात को बात की थी, हमने कहा था ये तो ज़रूर करेंगे. So I remember that. And I think your gut, when you know that you want to do something and it's going to be a beautiful journey on the set, वो हमेशा mostly सही होता है. और इस सेट पर आई थिंक ये कमाल की एक बात है ऐसे इस फिल्म की बताना चाहूँगी. I've seen it about 5 times now, और हर बार रोती हूँ, और अलग अलग पॉइंट्स पे रोती हूँ. तो it's amazing. And today when I was watching this film, when I'm dialing the number, my mother's number, I was just remembering my mom. I said, अगर मेरी माँ को मैं फ़ोन कर रही होती और फिर ऐसे काट देती और बात नहीं होती है, and I am not supposed to talk to her, how would I feel? I just felt a sense of suffocation. It was like, that's not a feeling I would ever want. And when you make a choice, why should you not be accepted, loved by your own people? Why should you not belong to where you really need to belong? And I think I learned a lot through this film for the LGBTQ. Lots of things I probably didn't know. I didn't know they, them. I learned it here, non-binary, all these things. The sensitivity that this film brings, I think that is the power of a beautiful film, that every time you see it, we've seen the magic of this film. Everyone somewhere is crying, either coming and hugging or coming out. ये बहुत liberating feeling है कि आप ऐसी एक film का हिस्सा हैं. और बतौर actor, when you talk about either me and Shabana ji, it's an honor. मतलब to just do those beautiful scenes with her. I mean, what do I say? I'm fortunate. And with Swara, with Jitin, ये कमाल की actress ने पहली बार देखी है film, but
Yeah, I believe so. Today is the first time you watched the film.
लेकिन yeah, I mean, it's lovely to have such an experience, which whenever you look back as an actor, you cherish and say कि जो बोला था दिल ने सही बोला था. So thank you Faraz and thank you Marika who's not here and Swara who's not here. Yeah.
Thank you. Kalyanee, I'm going to take this to you. I love the fact that, you know, the voice of reason in this film, and honestly, the sort of penny drop is because of you. And it's amazing how that happens. Were you equally excited to bring that, you know, to the set and to this role? आपके लिए कैसा था? Why don't you tell us your...
Yes. Of course, I was absolutely excited when he sent me the script. और पहले बताया कि what is it about? And सुनने के बाद I remember I was like, I wasn't reluctant. I was extremely happy and I was just nervous कि ये कैसे होने वाला है because ये it wasn't just about sensitizing. It was such an emotional experience. तो वो किस तरीके से जाएगा? क्या वो छुएगा किस देखने वालों के दिल को? क्या होगा? And also excited because he had told me like who is playing Sitara and Tara. And so the excitement was there, but at the same time, how much this film like it was a story that जो बतानी चाहिए उसका context था जो बहुत ही ज़रूरी था जिस तरीके से आने की गुंजाइश थी. So yes, I was absolutely excited, and the way he said that I want you to be my Shobha. तो एक चीज़ होती है कि उसने कहा अच्छा शोभा है अच्छा क्या है वो हाँ ओके लेकिन अब देखेंगे वो माँ के साथ में होगा ऐसा होगा वैसा होगा तो तब तक मुझे पता नहीं था लाइक हमें किसी को भी नहीं पता था. इट वाज लाइक सच एन अमेजिंग सरप्राइज दैट शबाना मैम वाज देयर ऑन बोर्ड एंड वो पूरा सीन हमारा एक साथ होने वाला था. सो आई वाज लाइक ऑब्वियसली नर्वस सो बट yeah, so actually
I love it that in that space, the two women are actually just mothers.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
That's the most beautiful thing about that scene, right? Because it didn't matter whether you worked at her house or not. Here are two mothers just talking to each other.
Absolutely. I was just coming to this motherhood. And the first thing he told me about, I want you to be my Shobha. I think he should talk about that. And I was thinking like seriously ये ममता कब से है मुझ में ये ममता क्यों है और ये बाकी लोगों को बिल्कुल कैसे नज़र आती है जो भी होता है. But then I started thinking that एक औरत जिसको सवाल भी नहीं पूछना पड़ता या गलत भी नहीं लगता कि जो उसका चॉइस है और जो उसकी बेटी का चॉइस है वो मैच नहीं कर रहा है तो बहुत कुछ गलत हो रहा है. Rather she is excited about her plans. And here where we are like everything is quite open and yeah वो बताते जो चुप हो जाना है ना. And that I remember like while that scene like we were shooting that scene and it just happened and that's it. We just realized it just happened and you remember like he had the plan कि वो कैसे जाने वाला है क्या होने वाला है but that's it. You realized it, I realized it, we all realized it. Like nobody's saying कि क्या गलत है क्या सही है और किसको क्या करना है. So,
Thank you for that. Jitin, I must say that you were a very lucky man at this point because here you are, you know, some very accomplished actors in your side, and you get the cherry on the cake by being the only boy here. So how was that? Was it the same, you know, in the actors? So do you always feel very privileged to be part of these wonderful women?
You know, I normally get forgotten every time that I'm at these screenings. So I understand what is being marginalized and in minority, what it means to be in minority and what it means to be marginalized.
Oh my God.
And I think one of the key reasons for me being part of such stories is this, that I think all of us need to go through experiences so that we can understand and empathize with what's out there. कहना आसान होता है, I think. You know, it's good that we say things and we discuss things, but to live a life like that, I mean, we all have our experiences in our life, but to live a life where you're not seen, where you're not acknowledged, I think if any capacity as an actor, if I'm able to be a part of that journey, that storyline, I always latch on to that experience. For me, honestly, I did not, Rohini, I did not read the script. I mean, I'd worked with Faraz earlier in Sisak, and you know, he's somebody who works from the gut. He's somebody who will make something on the set. I can't say that it's there in the script. In fact, my scene that's there, which on the dining table, it was not as, it was not, I mean, totally there when I first read the script. It was not. It happened, it happened. It happened in the third script, fourth script. Shabana ji said, I think she sent a line to him in the morning. It was developed. It was not. But I was like, I have to be a part of this. I worked with him. I know where he comes from. I know his aesthetic ability. I know the sensitivity that, he brings out there. And then, look at the reasons I have to do this film. I mean, I would not lose this chance to be, for one day be on a dining table where I'm sitting with, Shabana ji, Divya, Swara, Priya. I mean, for me, it was, it's been a great experience. Also, for me as a role, I'm the eldest son in my family. I never realized how the younger people, let's say my sister or the younger people in the family, who are doing everything right, they are not the center of the main issue of the family. They're doing everything right. Shanu is a guy who's married, I'm sure he has a good job. He's really towed the line in every aspect. But still, he does not get that attention. He actually wants everything should be perfect in this family. He's trying to make up to it. For me, it was important to see it from that perspective, What about the guy who's not the center of the family? And he's maybe pushing it कि यार सब कुछ ठीक हो जाए, कि सब कुछ, बहन को acceptance मिल जाए, माँ हो जाए, there's this sense of perfection that he had in his eyes, I think, throughout, which for me was very important to, to figure out through this role. And it's been a delight. And I'm genuinely very happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jitin. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Before you go
yes.
to Faraz, I just want to take off from where Jitin left. You see, the whole concept of the other is what has always bothered me, because that defines our relationship with the minorities. That defines our relationship with people we do not understand. We are scared of people we don't understand and shun them, because that's the most comfortable way of dealing with it. For me, I think it's very important, because if you empathize with the characters in this film, hopefully you will be able to extend that empathy to the other race, the other religion, the other country. And that, I think, in today's world, which is just becoming so intolerant at so many levels, and if you can really feel ke ishq gunah nahi hai, if you can actually empathize with that, then I hope something changes within you. I don't have any fancy ideas that a film can transform you, but I do feel that art has the capacity to create a climate of sensitivity in which it is possible for change to occur. And that can only happen if you empathize and you understand and you realize shunning the other is not your way.
Can I take a minute? I have two questions for you together now. But the second question everybody will have a go at, okay? Because the second question is about love, mothers, and food. So we'll get to that in a bit. But before that, here there's the minority, because we start talking about what it is like to deal with the other, write about stories about the other, empathize audiences about the other. You chose to tell the story of a minority within a minority. So you were upping within a minority. Could it have been any other way?
It's Minority Cube.
Minority Cube, yes. Could it have been any other way? That's my question. It shouldn't have been, but that's besides the point. Why? Why did you want to do this 3 times over?
How far does the apple ever fall from the tree? Not very far. So I grew up watching, I grew up in the 90s watching, a lack of people who felt like me, who come from Muslim families like I do. We don't live in homes with green colored walls, although that's completely fine if you do. We don't eat biryani and kebabs every day, although it's totally fine if you do. We don't speak chaste, pure Urdu at home, but it's fine if you do. My mother loves to wear a sari, and that's why I had Shabana ji in the opening scene of the film wearing a sari, which a lot of people had many issues about, saying, how can a Muslim woman wear a sari? And I was like, what? Um so apparently sari has a religion and Sheer Korma also has a religion. I was like, wow, things I discovered in the journey of Sheer Korma. But coming back, Rohini, I feel that I always missed seeing myself and my family on screen. I longed to see, and my mama always said this to me. She's like, तुम अगर फिल्म बनाओगे तो फिल्म में हमारी जैसी फैमिली ज़रूर दिखाना, और जैसी हम मोहब्बत करते हैं वैसे तुम लोगों को दिखाना बेटा, ताकि लोग समझ पाए कि एक और दुनिया है हमारी दुनिया में जहाँ हम रहते हैं. I feel that we as a generation have forgotten how to love each other. We've forgotten how kindness is really what is going to win at the end of the day. There's so much of hate that is being infused in our systems and in our lives and around us. We're becoming very insular. I want to break that, Rohini. I want to show people that there is a family like this, and there is a way where love actually wins. They might not be on the same page, Ammi and Saira. They might actually probably not agree on everything, but here they've come to a point. They've come to, like Rumi says, beyond the idea of wrongdoing and right. There is a field. They reach that maqam where they're able to hold each other and be like, you know what, here I am, and I'm going to hold you here, and I'm going to give you all the love that I have. I feel all of us should be able to do that, because life's too short, and it's important to keep reminding people about this over and over again. And like Shabana ji said, what better way than cinema? Making films is such a privilege in the times that we live in. If I get one opportunity to make a film, I want to make films that really open up larger conversations. Be it, I feel Sheer Korma is, given the times that we live in, by default it becomes a political film as well, right? It becomes so. I was asked this question. In fact, what you asked me, that could Sheer Korma have had a majority, setting? I was asked this question when I think when Didi and I were together in New York, and it led to a big fight. No, it led to a big fight because this person walked up to me and they said, "But why a Muslim family? Why did you alienate the rest of the audience?" And I actually just laughed. I just laughed at him and I said, "I'm going to enjoy my drink right now." He's like, "Oh, you drink?" So, I feel that और भी दुख है ज़माने में.
और भी गम है ज़माने में.
Moving on.
But speaking of ज़माने में, I just say that, शबाना जी आपसे सीखा है कि, एक गंगा जमुनी तहजीब के हम सब हैं और हम सब आए हैं. This is a line that you said many years ago in an interview, and it stayed with me because just that line where you say कि ज़माना हो गया तुम्हें करीब से देखकर. I mean that line, ये सुनने नहीं मिलता, ये शब्द सुनने नहीं मिलते, because somewhere if you deny the existence of an entire language, by calling it another language, you're going to just miss out the beauty of that language. And just those couple of lines, it is very, very dear to me.
This is my mama's line. I lost my mom in August, so it's very hard to watch this film over and over again and not think of her. But she used to hate when I used to travel. And we used to FaceTime 3 times a day minimum. And when I used to come home, she used to hold me like with both her hands, right, and look in my eyes and be like, "Ek zamana ho gaya dekho itne kareeb se dekhe hue beta." So I wanted to, bring a part of that mohabbat in Saira.
Yeah,
and
your
Amritsar.
mom and all moms, right? Yeah, all moms, all moms. Which is why this is such a universal experience. I want to come now to my favorite question of Sheer Korma. It's called Sheer Korma. There's a lot of food in Sheer Korma. Kebab. The first line says kebab lo, and then it ends with muh meetha kijiye, Sheer Korma lijiye. It's just wonderful. ये जो रिश्ता है खाने का और मोहब्बत का. Shabana, I want to start with you because I'm dying to hear your side of this. Love equals food for mothers?
I love food. Period. Okay? And so I think food can photograph very well in a film. That's a reason. But Faraz is obsessed with food. the scene that we were doing at the dining table, I want Divya and Jitin both to support what I'm saying. उसको कोई फिक्र नहीं थी कि हम क्या कर रहे हैं. वो खाने के ऊपर, इसके ऊपर, ये कोरमे के ऊपर इतनी सी इलायची यहाँ रखना जरूरी है, और ये जो है ये आलू. और मैं कह रही थी कि हमारे यहाँ कोई बिरयानी में आलू नहीं डालता, मगर यहाँ तो डालते हैं, बम्बई में डालते हैं. शबाना जी, मैंने कहा मुझे इसके ऊपर एक युद्ध नहीं करना, ठीक है तुम डालते हो तो डालते हो. तो इज कंप्लीटली ऑब्सेस्ड विद food. But you know one thing, when we worked in Fire 25 years ago, and the film over the years has become a kind of cult film. I just cannot tell you how many people all over the world have thanked me for being part of Fire, and we've traveled 25 years. And so I would imagine that Qorma is a film that would find acceptance very easily. And will you believe it that we are having trouble selling the film? Will you believe that the things that they're pointing out is कि नमाज का सीन निकाल दो. इन औरतों को नमाज पढ़ते मत. I mean, where are we? Where are we living? What is happening to this country? What is happening to the world of the art and the world of cinema? अगर वो लोग जो डिसीजंस कर रहे हैं, उनका सोचने का तरीका इतना महदूद हो गया है कि आप इन चीज़ों पर, where are we? We have to put up resistance. We have to put up a fight. And we have to say, no, we are not going to compromise. And hope that somebody will agree. But can you imagine इसके ऊपर इतराज़ करना कि वो जो है, क्योंकि आप इतने डरे हुए हैं कि नहीं वो मुसलमान को बुरा लग जाएगा. अरे, I mean, that I find completely shocking, and I find it shocking that it's the platforms. देखिए, the whole point of having platforms is कि बगैर censorship के, you should be able to watch and to see. और वो censorship हम अपने ऊपर ही impose कर रहे हैं. मतलब rather than embrace that, what we are saying, my God, what does it say about the atmosphere that we are living in? That to me is something that we have to put out resistance, and that's why for me G5A is very important, and what Anuradha Parikh is doing is very important, because she is giving us a space. She's giving us a space where we can say this. We need much, much more of that. Thank you, Anuradha.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it's a pity, because I asked you the first thing today I walked in and I said, is there on any OTT platform? Because अब तो लोग तो बड़े कह रहे हैं कि OTT पे तो चांदी ही चांदी हो गई है. But it's a very, how do I say, curated. Not curated is a good word. I have to say, is there a word which says curated? No. If somebody can help me, this is a very erudite audience. I'm sure you have a word for it. Censored? Yeah, maybe. A censored plethora of content. It's crazy that conversation doesn't really go anywhere, because you are speaking on behalf of a people that you don't know anything about. So I'm sorry about that. And I hope that it's on OTT very, very soon. So if there is a platform watching, it's here for the taking. The house is full today. And आपके तालियों से शायद एक और बार हौसला अफजाई हो सकता है ऐसी फिल्मों का, ऐसी कहानियों का. I want to take this back to you for love and food. The idea of mothers showing their love through food is your mother, it's my mother. It's at least, you know, majority mothers. This was the motif of Sheer Qorma. बहुत अच्छा खाना बनाती थी और तुम्हें खिलाती थी अम्मी जान. Is that right?
Yeah, so when I came out to my mom, I was 21 when I came out to my mom. And she didn't speak to me for 6 months. She was like, what do you mean? Right, she just like isolated me. She's like, don't talk to me, don't show me your face. But after 6 months happened to be my birthday. And when I woke up on my birthday morning, I could hear there was halchal happening in the kitchen. So of course, food was being prepared. And I had planned a whole day. I was like, I'm going to go out with friends, you know, you do you, you know, being, you know, very rebellious. And then right before lunch, I think around 12, she comes into my room with a big tray of, with khana, and there was biryani and kebab, literally everything on it. And she said, I've made your favorite. She's like, I've made your biryani. Do you want to eat with me? And we sat together and we had biryani kebab. No discussion, nothing. Like what happens now, the way it happens in films, like everything is explained, reference to nothing. We just had a biryani and everything was love after that. So I feel how food itself is such a character in all our lives, especially in South Asian lives. And I feel like across cultures also, because I have had the privilege of living in America, I've seen a lot of South American families, for that matter, also to carry forward that legacy. Italian families, food becomes such a huge part. I think the most conversations we have at home are about food. When you wake up in the morning, what are you going to eat? What do you want for lunch? What do you want for dinner? I think, yeah. But sadly, cinema never really reflects that, It never really does. And I was like, why? Like, my films will have food. I love food. I feel films should also embrace food. I've written a film which hopefully I'll shoot. It's also called Bun Tikki, which is again about food. I feel that food, yeah, it's called Bun Tikki. I feel that food is such a large part of my universe, and I feel that food conveys so much more than words ever can. You see in the film, like when you watch Shabana ji just open that, knots, and she reveals the sheet. I started crying. I've never cried at that point, but I don't know, somehow today it just hit differently because my mama actually made the sheer korma in the film. So it just hit very differently, and remember that I'll never have sheer korma again in my life. So it's bizarre. So yeah, I think food, I wanted to use food, Rohini, very powerfully because, and of course I've worked on a film called Stanley Ka Dabba, where again I infused food in, the narrative with Amol, and I tried to push that narrative out of how food then becomes, almost a active part in the narrative. It's about hunger then in that film. Here also it's about hunger, the hunger that Saira has for Ammi's mohabbat, and how she's not feeding her sheer korma. She never even gives her sheer korma. She just gives it to Swara. But पेट तो इनका भरता है film में, उन मोहब्बत से. So I feel there's so many layers in the film. If you watch it over and over again, I realize that sometimes you just write it, what comes, but then later when you sit down, and I don't know how many times I've seen the film, but every time I've seen it, I've realized there is so much more than what meets the eye. And the more times you watch it, it just opens up a whole different plethora of, spectrums.
Speaking of meeting the eye, was it important to show the kiss? I always ask a director this question.
Yeah, I think the kiss was totally unplanned, to be honest. Swara had no idea it was coming. It was non-consensual, sorry. In the days and age of consent,
Wow.
It was non-consensual. And Didi and I actually, we were shooting this scene.
Didi has a completely different memory of
we
this.
were shooting this scene on the last day. And I went to, it was very nice. It was supposed to end with a Lori. She comes in her lap and she's like, okay, soja bacha, whatever, right? But I went to Didi and I said, listen. And she's like, what? I said, do you think? And she kind of felt it. Like, she kind of felt my energy going through. And I said, do you think, like, if there's a moment, like, you just feel like, you want to, like, she's saying, like, अब तुम्हारी अम्मी से रिश्ता तो बन ही गया ना. It's such a sweet line, यार, कि जाने अनजाने में तुम्हारी अम्मी से रिश्ता बन ही गया ना, लोरी के ज़रिए. So I felt like, I said, listen, if I was in your place, I'd like want to kiss my partner. So she just looked at me. She's like, or? I said, I don't know if you feel like so. I'm just saying. And I walked away. And I said, okay, and roll sound, roll camera, action. And Didi was like in the middle, sitting there. And she's like, and Swara was on her. And I was like sitting behind the monitor. I was like, please, 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 please pick them kiss. And the first take actually, which you see in the film, that's why there's a hesitation also. I don't know if you all noticed. There's a hesitation. That hesitation is real. I don't think I could have directed it. And Swara just went with the flow. Because she felt it too, right? It feels like a kiss, right? Yes. You can't write a kiss. I don't know how people write.
And they kiss.
And they kiss full stop. No. I just felt like if you feel like अगर दिल से आपको महसूस हो रहा है तो आप करो. And I think that's the freedom I give to all my actors. Everyone, like like at times, like I know, like when I wrote the film, and Shabana ji, being Shabana ji, she every morning, the first message on my phone used to be from her, right? She had feedback, she had suggestions, and in fact, that line which Ammi says, "Ye sab kuch kudrat ke khilaf hai," is Shabana ji's line. There was no line in the film. I just wanted her to look at her son. You know, she just very disdainfully looks at her son. That was it. But Shabana ji said, no, it's important for us to add this line there. कि ये कुदरत के खिलाफ है. That is the universe the Ammi is coming from. So that it becomes larger. So she brought in then that line, and then later, of course, we had to find another line for Jitin to say कि क्या इन्हें किसी और खुदा ने बनाया है. You know, so we kind of fixed, but it was very organic. You know, I feel like that's how films are made. I can't write film. I can write in film isolated, sitting in my room, but eventually, when you are there creating, there is a tacit energy in motion from all of us, and to be able to nurture that and give that the space for it to develop and become something, I feel that really is my job. You know, to listen to all my actors. So I'm just glad that I had such wonderful, energies on this film, that it really nurtured me as a human being. It nurtured me as a director. I learned so much on this film. I just had to, at many times, just step back. You know, I was like, move out for us. Let them take over. Move out. Just sit down, right? Which is very difficult at times, right? Because I'm very anal as a director. Like, Jitin knows this. When we shot Sisak, I even wrote, I said, and then he takes a step and he takes a deep breath. So when we were shooting in the train, the Bombay local train, Jitin was like, अभी सांस लेनी है कि बाद में लेनी है, right? So I said, yeah. I said, just take it like couple of times, and then I'll see it on the edit. So I'm pretty anal as a writer. As a director, I'm pretty chill. So I feel like the good balances with the bad.
Thank you. Big hand for that. That's beautiful. Thank you. Divya, I really want to take this back to you, because there you were, and I'm going to go back to my question of internalizing that performance. And you know, सब कुछ अंदर ही अंदर है, तो ये अंदर ही अंदर अभी बहुत मुश्किल होता है एक्टर से पूछना कि you know, थोड़ा सा सिली भी लगता है कि कैसे किया आपने क्योंकि आप क्यों बताएंगी मुझे ये तो आपका स्किल है, ये ट्रेड सीक्रेट्स हैं, कला है, यही तो एक्टिंग है. I've heard all of that. Yeah, so I'm not going to ask you that, but at the same time I feel that there is a world that you need to immerse yourself in, okay, to arrive at that performance. ये सब अंदर होता है, you know, और ये जो दिख रहा है is perhaps the tip of the iceberg. So on that day, you know, when you are shooting that scene, is it okay for you to be, you know, regular, normal before the take actually starts? Do you have a different process?
Well, I think every story brings a different me. And mostly what happens is I like to belong to that shot when it is happening. So the magic. And I must thank her, Shabana ji, for that. We were rehearsing. And I think she observed and noticed that. And so when we were rehearsing, and she was rehearsing beautifully, to aansu mere khud hi nikalne lag gaye, that kitchen scene that we are doing. And she just put her hand on my face. She said, stop, don't do it. Put it. I was like a little taken aback. She said, keep it for the shot. I was like, oh my God, she actually observed that, I mean, I would like to just flow with the thing. And she just helped me do it. And that, I think, is the magic of the set when you have somebody like that with you. Mera process kya yaar, I lost my mom when I think 7 years back, and it still feels like yesterday. And so when you do a scene like this, which is so high on emotion, I think you do rely on emotional memory or something somewhere, but you can't just sit there, because otherwise you'll be a wreck. You have to come back, you have to laugh, you have to joke. And you have lovely people on the set. So वो मस्ती वस्ती करके जब आप जाते हो शॉट में, फिर वो शॉट के टाइम आप वहीं हैं. And I must say this, that I always say this, that for me, she means a lot to me. And I can't even express how much. I wouldn't have words. It helped me that she played Ami. Yeah. And so what do I say? So yeah, it felt very, like I think you're only reacting, and whatever's coming your way, I don't even say हम act करते हैं, हम feel करते हैं. तो अगर किसी ने खूबसूरत एक्सप्रेशन दिया उससे मैं फील करके उतना ही लौटाऊंगी, और अगर एक्टिंग कर रहे हैं तो शायद वो मेरे पे भी रब ऑन कर जाए और शायद मैं वैसा ही कर दूँ. So I'm glad and fortunate, very fortunate, that I think was surrounded beautifully and very well looked after everywhere to play Saira. And I think Saira was, in many ways, I think I was playing for us. So for me, it was, उसको क्या कहते हैं कि आप कुछ एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेते हैं कि मैं अपने दोस्त को प्ले कर रही हूँ, तो वो कहीं ना कहीं बैक ऑफ द माइंड रहता है. तो बहुत सारे इमोशंस मिल जाते हैं, एक चीज़ तो कभी भी नहीं होती है, बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती हैं. सो उन्हें आप एंजॉय करते हैं, देन व्हेन यू लुक बैक यू से बहुत खूबसूरत कुछ बना. आई बात खाने की, तो वी कम बैक टू योर फूड टॉपिक.
शुक्रिया.
So I think food we relate to all memories. जो घर का खाना होता है ना, वो आप चाहे दाल रोटी खा रहे हो, चाहे बहुत बेसिक कुछ खा रहे हो, you will always relate to it as माँ के हाथ का खाना, घर का खाना. तो वो जब पोटली खुलती है, what you recollect is your own memories. Connect it with what you are just seeing right now. Somebody's mother's made it बड़े प्यार से. तुम अपनी memories लेके आए हो, उन memories को जोड़ा है साथ में. तो ये चीज़ें हमेशा I think खाना जो है वो, like I remember I had a shoot and we were coming watching a play and my two friends were with me. So अब खाना तो पूछेंगे दोस्तों को, तो मेरी अगले दिन शूटिंग थी, लंबे लंबे डायलॉग थे, तो मैं कहती चलो इनको खसकाओ जल्दी. तो मैं कहा तुम्हें मैं क्विकली कुछ रोल ले दूँ और फिर टाटा बाय बाय. माई मदर इंसिस्टेड, नहीं नहीं घर चलो, घर पे मैं 2 मिनट में खाना बना के देती हूँ. आई एम किकिंग हर इन द कार, आई एम ड्राइविंग, आई एम लाइक प्लीज मम आई हैव डायलॉग्स टू लर्न. सो शी इज़ लाइक नहीं नहीं चलो 2 मिनट में बना के देती हूँ. शी वेंट टू द किचन, माई फ्रेंड सैट ऑन दैट बेड. 2 मिनट में आलू बन के आए, पराठे बन के आए, पुलाव बन के आए. 2 मिनट में मतलब फट फट फट. वो जो प्यार था, द सिंप्लिसिटी ऑफ इट, द वार्मथ ऑफ इट. My friend said, ये आंटी खाना हम कभी नहीं भूलेंगे. So I think that is the love that comes when it comes from your mother. So and mother is always like a universal thing for everyone to remember.
So beautiful. Thank you for that. Filmmaking is also about choices and writing, right, of scenes. And what moments do you pick when you tell the most important part of your story? And I think that that moment for me was truly when, you know, Kalyanee and Shabana ji are talking to each other about their daughters, and, you know, the azan starts playing. And then right then she says the truth of life, which is that if the kids are happy, that's when the parents are happy. And right after that, and that's where the conflict is so beautiful, you know, she's reminded of the duty that, you know, she needs to, you know, unko ada karna hai, right? And there she is in that moment, and that conflict was so real. And I mean, Shabana ji, matlab Suraj ko diya dikhane ke barabar hai, so I will not dare to say that it was a good performance. Of course I mean, who am I? But at the same time, I think that that conflict was so beautiful and so real. Do you want to talk about that moment for me, please?
You know, 2 moments that are very important for me in the film is one when Jitin says, "Unko bhi to usi खुदा ने बनाया है." Because उस वक्त वो शायद इतना resist कर रही है कि वो नहीं दिखाना चाहती है कि the penny has dropped, but it has. And then after that with Shobha, वो process तब शुरू हो गया था. वो process तब शुरू हुआ था, और फिर जब वो कल्याणी कहती है, और वो इतनी आसानी से कहती है कि हाँ अगर बच्चे खुश तो हम खुश. So both of them are catalysts for 2 very important moments that bring about the change. It helps that they're very fine actors. It helps that it's very beautifully written. I really, really, really think that for me as an actor, the writing is the most important thing in the film. Of course, we know that a film is a director's medium, definitely. And it's also extremely collaborative work. But वो writing है, और अगर वो writing सच्ची है तो फिर वो हर बार आपको बिल्कुल झंझना देती है.
How do we get more people to watch this film?
I don't
जितने
know.
लोग आज हैं वो जाके बात करें trumpet लेकर.
Yeah, really. Like, put it out there. We genuinely want the film to go out in the world, but it's
Insta, Twitter, phone calls.
Yeah.
अब तो Twitter भी नहीं रहा हमारा.
Up to Twitter, we're all going to lose verifications next week. Good
मैं नहीं
luck.
दे रही $8.
I'm not giving $8 also, no. But no, I think I'm a hopeful person, Rohini. I believe in hope, and I feel that when the time for Sheer Korma comes, the time will come and it will reach where it's meant to. So I don't really doubt it. It's just that, of course, it's very frustrating when you've made a film with so much mohabbat, and it's been to over 250 film festivals so far. We've traveled the world. We've won 73 awards. We won 6 awards in Delhi when all of us were there. So it's doing what I feel like very few Indian films do. It qualified for BAFTA, it qualified for the Academy, it qualified the European Cine Awards. We were felicitated by the Australian government, where they gave us Equality for Cinema Awards. I think it's the first for any Indian film to have actually got that. So, ab bas wahi hai that, just wishing and hoping that it all comes together and a lot of people get to watch it. Varna, we'll keep traveling city to city.
No, I
country to
do
country.
think what Shabana ji has said, that the love that this film is getting from all over the world, I think one of the platforms just keeps that in mind and just takes it on without these, all these preconditions around.
I'm very adamant. Like, I'm not going to remove the namaz scene in this universe. I feel that it is a part where really the film is. So if they want to edit, I've been offered advice that change the namaz scene into a dining room scene. Let them have the dupattas on their head, but not like
In
wrapped
namaz,
around.
in namaz.
And I was like, what? And then why don't you own? It can also be a cafe scene. It can be a car scene. They're like
just
headed
make it neutral.
back from the
let's
mother's
not
home.
commit
No.
to.
They've given me full screenplay. They're headed back from the mother's home in the car. And she turns and she's like, I'm sorry, yaar, main apne rishte ko. And she holds her hand and you see them in the mirror, in the rearview mirror. I was like, I said, whose film is this
I'm
anyway?
glad they are not making films.
So that's not happening. So, now that it is where it is, it'll find its sky and fly, I feel.
I'm going to constantly talk about this film, okay? Whether it's on my social media, whether it's to friends, to random people I meet in trains. I'm just going to be Sheer Qorma. देखिए आपने वो तो मेरा काम होगा, ये मेरा ज़िम्मा है. लेकिन अभी के लिए, I've asked them the sort of questions I had to. I'm very grateful. But as a wrap thing, I want to say that, for anyone to make a film or want to make a film, it's very important that artists who have been there before us, who are way more accomplished than us, shine their light on a film, on a subject, and decide to, literally bless that project. So I think each of you who have come together for this film, I'm sure I want to say a big thank you from an audience point of view. Thank you for being in Sheer Qorma. Thank you for being part of it, yeah? Let's also, yes, you can clap to that, because you should also thank them. Any questions? We'd be happy to take a couple of questions, because I'm sure that we're excited for the rest of the evening coffee and cello show and all of that as well, right? But we do want to give a couple of questions a chance. So if you have any questions, raise your hand. Hopefully, you don't even need a mic. Yes, ma'am. Hello. There's a mic coming to you.
Hi, congratulations. I mean, it's a wrong word because it's such a beautiful movie, totally zapped. But I would agree with you that more people should see this movie, but where? I mean, after the movie, I spoke to my friend. I said, it's such a beautiful movie, you have no idea. But kahan dekhne ka?
I wish I had an answer to this question.
Because you're saying that, okay, I'll put it on Twitter and Facebook and blah, 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 and all the platforms, that you must see the movie, it's such a well-made movie, etc. But where?
Yeah, to answer that, we've been trying very hard for an OTT platform to buy it, but not, they want a lot of things. They want a pound of flesh, and I don't have that. So it's just hoping that eventually they just take it for what it's worth, rather than taking, you can't really rearrange the universe, saying that I want Uranus first and Jupiter after that. It's just not possible. This is how it is. And I'm not being stubborn. This is the film that I've made, and a film that we all stand by. We're here today because we believe in this film so much. So I feel that taking anything away will be, taking that universe away. So it's just a matter of time, to be honest. But if there is, we can have multiple screenings across cities. We've been doing that, in fact, all over the world. In fact, next month I'm headed to America. I have a tour of the film all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast. These are fundraisers that we are doing, and it's about, I think, we're doing overall 25 screenings in the United States. So like that, I also hope that India may or shehron mein le ja sake. We've just done Delhi, Bombay, and Hyderabad so far. There's been a lot of um, resistance from other cities. Actually, it's funny. Yeah, a lot of resistance. Also, like a lot of queer folks have like issues also with the film. They're like, we don't want it at Kolkata Pride and this and that. It's politics and we live in a weird world. But happy to do multiple screenings. Maybe at G5A, if G5A is available to us and we can host screenings here, paid screenings. So why not? If there's no OTT, there'll always be G5A. I'm hoping.
Thank you. Yeah.
Actually, one of the things that we do wish to do with Cinema House is to really have all the indie films that don't get support in the real world, as it were. We really want to invite them to, block it for a week or whatever and screen it. So yes, hopefully not only as a last measure, but so whenever we'll talk.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for that question. Yeah. I know. Yes. Is there another question? There's a mic coming to you, sir. Could you pass the mic towards that side, please? आप mic भेज दीजिए, वो ले लेंगे. शुक्रिया.
Yeah, hi. First of all, thank you so much for this film. It's extremely beautiful. I relate a lot to Saira's character because I am literally queer and non-binary like them. And my mother is very homophobic. So thank you. I had tears in my eyes. And I wanted to ask a question about the last scene where they announced the pregnancy. Like, was that planned or was that organic? Like, you planned it along, like in the first script, or as you said, you had a fifth script, sixth script, you had multiple drafts. So I just wanted to ask if that came along early or was it something that you just planned organically?
I actually met a lot of couples across the globe, queer couples across the globe. And in fact, Qorma is little loosely based on a real life couple without giving the name.
It's me and my girlfriend.
Also you, I think, listen, it's all our lives really on screen, right? But I did meet this couple in New York and they took me out for dinner one night. They'd come to see my earlier film, Sesak, and they said, we're stealing you for the night. And they literally took me away. And they happen to be, one of them happens to be Indian, the other happens to be Pakistani, living happily in the Big Apple.
Anjali and Sufi?
No, not them. Although they're friends. But
I'm jealous of you.
one of them actually identified as non-binary and they have a child whose name is Aman. And when I heard that story, I was so moved. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying this because the conversation just rolled out and they were like, if in your next film you don't touch about the queer women and you don't touch about non-binary people, we're not going to come watch your film. So, I feel that as there's only this much you can do in one film, you can't explore all identities, all sexualities. So that was the 7th draft actually, because by then I had already, the film ends when the mother and the child hug, that was the end for me. But then when I heard this and I was like, listen, I need to tell people about this. I need to tell people that non-binary people have children as well. There is so much hope for all of us out there. It never really ends, and you can be whoever you want to be and live authentically and honestly with great respect and dignity. And I feel that Qorma gives that to so many of us who are longing for that. So like I said, once you start aligning, everything starts coming together.
Thank you for your question and for sharing your experience. Anybody else has a question? The mic will come to you. Anybody? Last chance, huh? All right, on that note, thank you so much for being our audience. Thank you for coming out today. I do want to say that a little word for G5A and putting together this wonderful festival. There's a visual immersive arts experience starting on Thursday. So please, it's curated by Anuradha, and you have to come and see it. It's stories of the sea, and we're of our sea, and I'm very excited about that as well. So spread the word. Come support your own local theaters and the festivals that they curate so beautifully for audiences. And last but not the least, thank you for bringing your film to the G5A today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And before you all go home, there is a wonderful bazaar on the terrace. So please do visit it.
Let's go now. We're all going now. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.